but most women do not want to be the breadwinner for men.
Yeah,
They just don't.
true.
Now, they'll sit there and have the feminist propaganda and say, I'm a boss bitch and I'll make a bunch of money and I'll do X, Y, Z. But the reality is when women say I'm independent, you got to ask yourself, who are they independent of? It's men.
What up, though? It's your boy Danye BC2, and today we have a video on Myron Gaines, and it's going to be about him talking to a young gentleman, and they're going to basically talk about this simp culture or things that you should be doing for women or not doing for women. So we're going to get right into the video, not play no game. So
What's up, man?
Oh, no, I just want to see what you got going on.
Oh, you want to see the sign?
Yeah, let's see. Women deserve less.
Women deserve less. Change my mind, yes.
Why do you think women deserve less?
Well, there's a bunch of different reasons, but I would say to make it nice and simple, we got too many simps out here.
What's the constant variable of what they currently have of deserving that they should deserve less of?
Oh, look, she flipped the middle finger off. She's so mad. Can't defend your ideas. Just got to put a middle finger up, I see. So sorry, what was that question?
So, yeah, I said, what's that constant variable that women currently deserve that have that you think they should have less of? What's that they have right now that they're getting?
What is it that they have?
That they're getting.
Oh, man. Well,
deserving.
here's the thing. They get preferential treatment. They're able to be treated like a lady while simultaneously being able to behave like men with almost zero consequence. They could basically double dip. You can enjoy the benefits of being treated like a lady, right? Enjoy chivalry and, traditional male standards like men treating them like ladies, while simultaneously they can also behave rude, erratic, crass with zero consequence.
Can't men do the same thing?
No, we can't.
No.
We're actually held to standards unlike women.
You think so?
Yes.
What backs that up?
For example, you, right? How old are you?
I'm 20.
You're 20. So who do you think is going to have more value in society, you or a 20-year-old girl?
Depends which 20-year-old girl, because me, physically, I work my ass off and I'm, focused and do what I need to do. I'm sure there's a woman that's 20 years old that does the same thing.
Okay, here's
and
the
I'm sure
beauty.
There's a majority that
You
don't
said you
do
work
that.
your ass off, right?
Of course.
Why do you work your ass off?
I mean, because I don't ever want to have my mom working a day in her life. That's all
Cool.
it is.
So there's a burden of performance on you, right? You have to work.
I have to. No one has to work.
Well, if you didn't work, your status would decrease. Fair?
Not necessarily. Nowadays, no.
Yeah, it would decrease. So
all right, so let me pause it because it's been going on for a little bit, but I'm not gonna lie, this guy seems like he has a good head on his shoulders that Myron Gaines is debating, even though these last couple of seconds before I paused it, he was going downhill because he started to cap a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But Myron's basically saying that men are giving women too much, and basically saying also that women are held to different standards. They can be treated like a woman but still act like a man. They can still act harsh, unbehaved. I guess that's the gist that he's getting at. And I agree that female culture is more masculine nowadays. I don't think anybody would deny that. You know what I mean? Women are more outspoken as ever. They're more aggressive. They tend to be more the disciplinarian today, especially in my community, because most of us are raised by single mothers. So who's going to discipline us? So I think that women definitely are not women of yesteryear, but yeah, I'm very interested in seeing where this is going to go.
reason why you're working is because you kind of know it's like an unspoken reality that men have to perform. But if I took a 20-year-old girl, she doesn't have to work. You do. That's my point.
I mean, working is one thing because women, they can work in other ways. It doesn't just have to be like a 9-to-5 making money. They can work in supporting and doing things around the house. For example, if you have a team of people, not every single person is just bringing in money. Someone helps someone else to support them throughout their daily life to assist them to make that money. So let's say if I had a woman that was, living with me and she was my girlfriend, she doesn't need to make money as long as she makes my life easier to be able to make money. And that's just as much as a help as me making money.
Here's the difference. It wouldn't work the other way around. That's my point. If she worked and you helped her out behind the scenes,
why not?
It probably wouldn't work because women don't like to provide for men long term.
It depends on the situation. Depends.
Myron quickly flipped that because I'm 100% on that guy's point of view in terms of a woman's value and what she brings doesn't Isn't her best asset isn't money, isn't bringing in money. That's not a woman's best asset. And I would, like I said, do exactly what he said. For me, for what I'm looking for in a woman is not going to be her out there working, making money every day. No, what I'm going to be looking for a woman is someone who can fill in the gaps and help me make more money in terms of taking care of business at home, and also certain things that I'm not good at, certain things that I might not want to do, or organization wise that she may be able to bring to the table that elevates me, that keeps me more organized, that keeps me more focused, that allows me to free up more of my time to then go out there and work and get more resources. So I agree with this young man. He made a great point, and Myron just switched it and said, well, oh, what if the roles is reversed, is not the same? Of course, because that's not how we're made. Women aren't made to be out there getting the resources while we're at home doing certain things. They're physically not made for that, for all the people that might be trying to argue me in the comment section. They are not made, because if they become pregnant, how are they going to work? You know what I'm saying? Men can work 24/7 and impregnate all these girls out here because that's how we're built.
90+% of women do not want to be a breadwinner for a man ever.
That's
ever.
not true.
That's propaganda, feminist propaganda. Women, if they out earn their man, or they're in a position where they're in a leadership role, there's a very high likelihood they will leave you.
My mother's a perfect example of that. It's the complete opposite. So I don't.
Is she with your dad still?
Of course.
Okay, and how long have they been married?
They got married, high school sweethearts, since they were, I believe, 18. They got married, moved here together.
And was your mom the breadwinner the entire time?
They were 50-50.
Okay, and then what is it now? Now she's the breadwinner?
At first, it was my dad. Well, basically, my mom went to school. My dad worked. Then my mom worked because she got her degree. And my
put her
dad
through school.
Then went to school. And now they both work. And I would say that my mom has a more consistent and, makes more money than my dad. And that completely discredits to a point of what you're saying, because there's a degree where my dad wasn't working, assisting her.
Well, you also got to understand that anecdotal evidence, like based on your own personal experience, doesn't necessarily reflect the rest of the world. So though that,
yeah, dude, you can't just dismiss what he said because your parents aren't the same. And I agree with Myron. If women make more than men, the attraction level does go down. I'm sorry, it does, because they're looking at you like, what are you doing? And I truly believe, it's my belief that a woman that's with you has to feel a certain level of, this guy is better than me, because a woman should want, I want to word this the right way for my people out there listening. A woman should want to work on herself to feel like she's matching your energy. For example, let's say I'm a guy right now leveling up. I'm working my butt off. I'm making money. I'm doing investments. I'm driving in something nice. I am doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm on my shit, right? And I got a girl. The girl they're not dumb. They're watching your movements. They're watching how you're moving. They're like, oh, shoot, he's starting to boss up a little bit. She's seeing other girls look at you like, oh, shoot, who's that? What's that going to make her do? Hopefully, it should make her get off her butt, hit the gym, start getting right, start trying to look more attractive, meet you at your level. Because she should want to feel like she is trying to seek your approval in a sense, and always trying to make sure that she's the right one. She's the one, because women can feel it. They can feel when they got that guy. They can see things around them. They're not dumb. So I truly believe that a woman has to feel like you're better than them in a sense to allow them to respect you. Because as soon as the respect level goes, it's all over.
That might be your situation with your parents, which is great. A lot of the times that's just not the reality. And the other thing also that you need to understand is that your father was the breadwinner for a significant amount of time in their relationship.
How do you know it's significant? What if I say 2 years?
Well, those 2 years is where she was able to go to school, right?
And vice versa when he went to school.
Okay, but he put her through school. So he allowed her to basically be able to go to school, and he
put him through school. Yes,
that's very important.
Through school.
That's very, very important. That's a pertinent fact to the situation. But again, like I said before, women, right, are not going to provide long-term for men the same way that men will provide long-term for women. Also, I think it's important to understand that your parents had a longer relationship. So by the time that everything planned out and she's being the breadwinner, she's a bit older. She might not be able to enter the dating marketplace the
Can you
same level.
elaborate on the word provide?
I'm sorry?
Can you elaborate on what you mean by provide?
You said she was the majority breadwinner, right?
Disregard what my situation was in my family. I want you to elaborate and describe what you mean providing. A woman providing is. What do you see that as?
The reality is this, man. So I know this is considered politically incorrect to say this, but most women do not want to be the breadwinner for men.
Yeah,
they just don't.
True.
Now they'll sit there and have the feminist propaganda and say I'm a boss bitch and I'll make a bunch of money and I'll do XYZ. But the reality is when women say I'm independent, you got to ask yourself, who are they independent of? It's men. They do that to say I don't need a man, and they make that money for themselves. When a man makes money, he says, how can I have a family? When a woman makes money, she says, I don't need a man. Completely different mindsets when we make a certain amount of money.
So providing essentially your.
That's facts. That's facts. Listen, I don't like this ugly mug, but he is spitting facts. And a man and woman mindset when it comes to money is definitely different. It's totally different. And we're talking about it as, let's say there's a man single and there's a woman single. When a woman gets money, she's single. She's looking at it as, this is my money. A man, I'm talking about a responsible man, and even a responsible woman, but I'm talking about a man, a true man. When they get money, they should be looking at it as, all right, how is this money going to sustain me for a family later on in life? How is this going to set me up for success 10 years, 20 years from now? Because most men want to take on that responsibility of making sure everything is cool. They want all that weight on their shoulders. And I'm talking about even the average man can have this mindset because they understand that when things go downhill, they got to put up. They got to do what they got to do. But I agree with Myron that women do not want to be the breadwinners at heart. They don't. They can put up this big front, but now, look at it now. The world we live in today, all these women are complaining and crying on the internet because of how hard life is, all the bills they got, and just how everything just seems to be going downhill. Like, they're not built for this. They're not built for this. Like, when things like this start to go bad for me, I double down. I go get 2-3 jobs. I go work 60 plus hours. And I do this and I'm happy with it. I'm fine with it because I understand that it's temporary and I'm built for this. And that's where it's like, all right, most people fold under pressure. Everybody can talk all this big stuff, independent stuff. Oh, I could do this, I could do that. Man, you don't know somebody's true and real character until they're faced with adversity. I've seen so many people fold when the pressure was on them. But that is not me, and that's what you guys need to be. Y'all need to be people that do not fold under pressure and are not scared of the moment. You know what I mean?
You're talking about monetarily when it comes to money.
Yes, when it comes to, being a breadwinner, men are far more comfortable and built to provide for women than women are for men. If a woman is in a provider situation, the likelihood of that relationship falling apart is very high. Now, there's some situations like yours where it was able to work. But I do think it's important to understand that your dad had a bit of equity there where he helped her get to the position that she's at. So there's some level of reciprocity there now that, she's making the money. But in most situations, women are not okay with providing long-term for men, especially now.
So on a follow-up question, you're talking about providing as a woman or a man is just monetary. What would success look like for you as a human being?
For me?
Mm-hmm. As a human being, what does success look like?
Having a nuclear family, having a woman that respects you and obeys you. You make the decisions, you're the head of the household, and bringing it back to what it was before. But this whole equal partnership stuff that we push out there, it's not true. It's all a lie.
So you're saying being able to support and have a woman that supports you is what success looks like for you as a human being?
Yes, you support financially, and obviously you're the bedrock, and she takes care of the children in the home and have defined gender roles. I think that's very important.
And as a person, what would you be happy with yourself? Let's say you're on your deathbed and you're looking back. What would you look back on and say, wow, that was success?
I think when you're on your deathbed, the only thing that matters looking back is, did you create a legacy and do you have a family? I think you want to be on that deathbed with people surrounding you that you've helped create to some degree.
So what if, let's say, on my deathbed, I have $100 million there, and when I look back, I was like, damn, I was a shitty person. You know, I didn't do a lot of things. I wasn't so wise. I wasn't so kind. But instead, you maybe had that same amount of money, but you had a woman that instilled those values in you and your family. I think that's worth more than any $100 million could count for.
I agree. I think less money and a family is far more important than more money and no family. I agree.
And a woman brings that.
I agree. All right, thank you. Who's up next?
I agree. I keep agreeing on Myron. A nuclear family, gender roles is very important, and we need to bring it back. We need to bring that back, because if you think that times are getting better in terms of how people's mental is, how people are navigating, just it's chaos nowadays. I ain't gonna lie. If you look out in the world today, it's chaos. Everybody's single. Everybody has kids out the wazoo. There's no structure. People can do anything they want, say anything they want, and it's just madness. And this is why we're getting the results we're getting. There has to, first off, family, we got to understand how important family is. Family is essential to fixing any of these problems that's going on out here. First off, kids wouldn't be acting how they act. When there's two parents, they can't get away with as much stuff that they're getting away with. Because look at it from a single mom point of view. They are supposed to be working a job. Some of them got multiple kids. Then they got to figure out their situation, bills. Just, I don't even know how they're doing it nowadays, because the way inflation is and how much everything is so expensive. So how can they really care for that kid the way that the kid needs them to care for, if they're working all the time, and when they're not working, they're still stressed out and tired? And now we got a bunch of King Vons roaming the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like, what we doing? So we need to bring back real family, and that's gonna mean that women, you got to start opening your legs for the right people. Simple as that. Stop sleeping with these bums. Stop just sleeping with all the hoodlums and stuff like that, because that's what the numbers are saying. It's saying that majority of kids are coming from the small minority of men that ain't shit. So I'm gonna need y'all to start picking better for my ladies out there, and maybe the world will start changing for the better. But if you're still watching this video, hit that like and subscribe button. I appreciate you guys for watching. I'm gonna end it right here because I think we got the gist of it. But yeah, let me know in the comment section how you feel, and I'm gonna see y'all in the next video. Peace.